This was 20 minutes after the stroke happened. In that moment, I remember thinking in my head, I might be dying. My wife told me later that she had prayed for angels to surround the room and guide the doctor's hands. And basically had this conversation with this bright light of, how's it going? How you doing? Are you ready? And I was like, ready for what? And it was back and forth of like, man, I think I've got some unfinished business.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast, powered by Deercast.
You're Tim Chelswick?
I think everyone already knows that.
That's right. You remain to be Tim Chelswick. Tim Chelswick.
Right. And you continue to be Matt Drury.
I tried to go somewhere else and get a different name. They wouldn't let me.
And so, one of these days,
it's attached.
Witness relocation.
That's right.
Yeah. Welcome to summertime.
Yeah, man. I've been at the farm a few times. Like there was no other time to pick where it was cooler to be at the farm and do work. I waited till it was 100 degrees with
why not
90%
humidity. Yeah, nothing evaporates off.
That's right. I got a new farm that I purchased a few weeks back. So looking forward to getting the hands dirty and doing some work, getting ready for the fall there. And it's that time of year. We need to have another podcast to jump into all that, but we got a special guest for this week's podcast, and let's introduce him and get off and running here.
Yeah. So if you like country music, like talking about God, we've got the guest for you guys today. We've got country artist Drake White. So Drake has scored 4 top 40 hits, opened for bands like the Zac Brown Band and Luke Bryan and Eric Church. I've never heard of those guys. So whoever they are, but yeah, we're going to be talking about deer hunting and just like the redemptive and healing power of what the outdoors and whitetails have.
That's right. Really compelling story. And I know a little bit about it, and I look forward to sharing it here with everybody else. So without further ado, Drake White, how's it going, man?
What's happening, guys? How's everybody?
We're doing good. So we have a mutual friend, a couple mutual friends. It turns out as we talked on the phone the other day, but where I hunt over in Illinois with my good buddy Chase and his kind of neighboring farm and really kind of a hunting partner, Spencer Brown. Spencer and you are good friends, and you've hunted over there with him, and we were actually there I think you were just leaving as I was getting in last year, and we hit a hell of a cold front, a super cold front.
That's really good timing, though, to be leaving as Matt Drury's coming in.
That's right.
Nice job,
He
Drake.
killed the big deer, and so it was,
He's, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. No. So that's where we kind of picked things off, right? That's where we started.
Yeah, that's right. Craig Morgan, we were at a festival in New York, actually. And I went up and was talking with Craig. Craig's always been a great supporter and just an unbelievable dude, as everybody knows. And Craig came in and was like, introduced me to Spencer. And me and Spencer start talking, and like my tour manager, there's a couple of things that can get me. And one of those things is talking about a whitetail deer and deer hunting and just habitat. And Spencer started, and my tour manager literally had to pull me. He's like, he's got to go on stage, whatever. And so me and Spencer kicked it off, and he started talking about this piece of land and 3.5 hours from Nashville. And I was like, man, I hope this guy's for real. And Craig Morgan was like, no, he's real. He's for real. He's for real. So I drive up there, and literally just put some time in. I spent, it wasn't one of those things. I'm kidding because I love Riley. He's one of my dear friends, but it wasn't one of those things where there's like, hey, the deer's on the camera, come up here and you can shoot it. And I'm not saying Riley does that. I'm saying it happens every now and then, that's supposed to be funny, guys.
Hey,
I'm laughing on the inside.
Riley. Well, so who you're talking about? Riley Green, huge hunter, as most people in our world know, big waterfowl guy, but also a big whitetail guy, right?
Yeah. So anyway, we were having a good time, and I came out there and hunted a couple of times, and just put the time in, seen some good deer, of course. But I had this little bitty opportunity where I was playing in northern Illinois, and was going to come through the area of Carmi where that property was. And this cold front was pushing through, and I saw the pressure and everything going on. And Spencer said, "Man, it's going to happen. It's going to be cold." But I said, "I think I can make it happen." And after probably 5 or 6 unsuccessful hunts, I come in and I'd killed a doe a couple of hunts before, but I come in and they let me off the bus at 3:15. Coming through there, they just dropped me off. Had all my stuff on, and it's probably like -5.
Ooh.
Was the wind chill.
And
that
Drake,
day.
you were bow hunting, right?
Black powder.
Black powder. Okay.
Yeah. So this would have been the second, or no, this would have been the Muzz only season, right?
Muzz only. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the last. Yeah,
Okay.
their last firearm season.
So we get up, and where this deer is traveling through is a bottom in between two big ag fields, and we had him pretty. They knew where he was bedding, and so we get down there. He's like, "Man, I would love to put you. I'd love to get in this shooting house and with a heater, but I'm telling you, this deer is going to be, where this ladder stands out." So we went and climbed the ladder stand, and we got up in the ladder stand, and sure enough, about an hour and a half goes by, and I look over my left shoulder, and that deer is about 200 yards away, about 30 yards in front of a shooting house. the shooting house we could have been in, being nice and toasty.
That's right.
And I mean, I'm from Alabama, man. I'm not, I'm a warm-blooded dude. And it's, I can deal with the cold some, but being from Alabama, I'm just not used to it. And it was, it was frigid. And, long story short, that deer got on a doe and ran back and forth, and he disappeared out of that, away from that shooting house, but then reappeared behind us. And, we were just able to get on him and, killed my first Boone and Crockett deer that morning, in Illinois. And just unbelievable. So me and Spencer, whether he wants to be or not, are joined forever. So it was a great day. Super emotional. All the stuff I'd been through health wise and things, to get out there and actually pursue a deer like that, of that caliber, was absolutely amazing.
And he shot that deer the day I arrived was the day he left, and so it's a property neighboring to the one that I hunt with Chase at. And they have a great relationship, Spencer and Chase.
This is the Drake you were bitching about.
That's right.
It's all makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So they have a lot of deer they share, and the genetics over there are crazy. And so he shot this deer, and that year Chase killed 2 giants. Spencer killed a booner. So like there's a lot of big deer kind of in the general area that they're hunting. And so we were hunting a big deer too, that, after he left, when I got there, we were still on another big deer. So it's a great area and just fun. It's a fun camp to be a part of because Spencer's got the club. He's got his own little thing going on, and we go over there and hang out, or Spencer ends up bringing people over to Chase's and we hang out over there. It's what hunting camp is all about. And that's the fun part of it. This segment of 100% Wild is brought to you by PH Outdoors. Check out the full line of the G Series and brand new M Series drills at phoutdoors.com. So anyways, you mentioned something about your health and the journey that you've been on, which is the real reason that we wanted to have you on to kind of take us through this, what you're up to, the project that you're working on right now, and kind of your story. So take us through, I guess, go back a little bit, backtrack a few years, and take us through kind of the beginning of this journey for us.
Yeah. Well, we'll just go through the whole thing really. Back in 2019, January of 2019, I was about to head out with Zach Brown and do a big tour with him, and we were about to go to Australia. Because I remember that because we had just paid for the plane tickets for about 20 people to go to Australia.
Refundable, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was that's going to play into this story. It's so I'm running. I I ran probably about 5 miles a day, getting ready for that tour, getting ready. You know, I just like to run. It cleared my head and just kept me in shape. And I got a headache, and that headache put me in an MRI situation. You know, had always been active, had always been singing. I pushed really hard, you know, and that was one of the things that I just thought caused this headache. And I've had many hangovers and many headaches in my life, but it never. This was like a debilitating level 12 migraine. So I go get the MRI, and the MRI shows this mass the size of a lime in the back right side of my brain, about right here, where my kind of right resting in behind my right ear. And it's called an AVM. And that AVM was massive, and an arterial venous malformation. And I was born with that AVM, and it formed in the embryonic stage, and 1 in 17,000 people have them. 1 in 32,000 have them in their brain. All right. So the doctor says, man, we're going to be able to embolize this thing, which is a fancy word for going up through your femoral artery and putting a catheter up through your femoral artery, running it into the back of your brain, and gluing this thing shut with a solvent called onyx. And you're going to be okay. These are life-threatening. Most of the time we find the person with these 60 years old in a ditch somewhere.
Oh.
And, you know, you're 35, and the reason that it's giving you a headache is because you're such a active, you know, singer and jumping around all the time, and you've just worn out the bumpers on it. That's exactly what he said. So my layman's terms head was like, okay, so we can play shows, right? And he goes, well, if we can get these things scheduled, you can't do but one a month, because the brain doesn't like a lot of change at one time. The brain will accept small incremental changes over a period of time. I said, all right.
How many were they needing to do?
8. Yeah, which was, he said this was the biggest AVM he's worked on. He said, I've worked on over 10,000, and this is the biggest one I've ever seen. So my left hand will be a little numb, which makes a lot of sense now, because right here behind your right ear is the mobile cortex to your left side. So my hand that I fret a guitar with, that I play guitar with, I couldn't feel the strings under my fingers. And I just thought, you know, I would shake it and just kind of tough it out like we all do. And so I get the MRI. We start the embolization process, guys. Like, this was like, come in on Monday, get the surgery. It was a, you know, relatively quick surgery. It's 4 or 5 hours. I would go under, and they would run that catheter up through there, glue a little bit shut, pull it out. I would rest Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I would meet the guys on Thursday on the bus, and armed with some blood pressure medicine, I would go out and I would perform. And the first couple of performances, maybe dozen performances, as you might expect, I was super timid. I was like, I just wanted to make sure that I could do it. And that was a huge risk for me, but he ensured me. The neurologist's name, by the way, was Dr. Miracle. That's his real name.
That's a solid.
No,
his path was set for him.
Yeah,
and Dr. Miracle
solid.
said that you might wear the bumpers off of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I'm going to trust a guy that's named Dr. Miracle that says you've worn the bumpers off your brain.
Me too, but for other reasons.
Yeah. It made sense to me, all the stuff that I'd done. But then the good news was then you're going to be able to go play. So we would rest Tuesday and Wednesday, and then be back on the bus Thursday, right? Then we play Friday, Saturday, and I would usually be back home Sunday. So a little bit lighter load than used to. I used to play 4 shows a week. Now I'm playing 2, bigger crowds, bigger things, bigger purpose. But I was normal. Everything was normal. Like, I just had this mass in the back of my brain, and they were taking care of it. So,
but Dre, I can't imagine there had to be times where you're in the middle of a song and it just hits you like there's a mass, a mass in my brain that could potentially like it. Maybe you didn't think it was life threatening, but it's still that's scary. Like that reality had to be hitting you at different points during your everyday life and your performances.
Oh man, when I first got this news, I was very apprehensive to go and push certain notes as a singer. You know where you're at the ceiling of your, range.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always push past that range with this Rambo type mentality of like, I'll push, I'll keep going. And so I did back off those notes and those things, and tried to keep the same intensity that I'd built a fan base on, you know? So you're exactly right. I was extremely, apprehensive for, the first 2 or 3 surgeries, but moving on, we did 40 shows and had 4 of these embolizations. So that rocks us, maybe 50 shows. That rocks us through August through July. July 4th, big, we're busy right now. And we get through all that, man. And I feel really good because I'm not drinking like I used to. I'm not eating like I used to. I am really focused on my health because obvious reasons. So we're set to go to Roanoke, Virginia. And I take the stage in Roanoke, Virginia. It's cotton candy skies and probably 2,500 people in this outdoor deal. Kids on dad's shoulders, cotton candy and funnel cakes and Ferris wheels. And we're like, I cut into it and we're going and I feel great. I'm in great shape. Like I said, if you've been a good beer drinker your whole life and you don't drink for months, dude, you feel amazing. You feel like crap at first, like, can I do this? But then you feel amazing. So I felt really good. And I take the stage, man, and the third song in is this song called "The Coast Is Clear," and I start singing it, and I can't really remember the words, and I forget my words a lot. Honestly, I always have. So it wasn't a big deal. But then I felt that tingle in my hand get more intense, and I was like, all right. So I kind of shake it off, and you can watch the film back of this happening. And this is in the documentary that we're making, The Hunts to Healing. But you see me fighting through it like men do, like women do, like people do. I'm just fighting through it. In my head, just like you said, I'm like, oh gosh, something's happening, but I'm going to push through it. And I don't know if not to be humor something I battle life with and battle thing. But that old school where the dude gets shot in the neck with a dart.
Yes.
Like that's what
you're crazy, man.
Yeah, you're crazy, man. And it really slowed down. So it was like the coast is clear, super slow. The cotton candy turned to the ground and the green grass turned to the sky and everything flipped upside down. And I was like, dude, I've ate some mushrooms in my life and I'm not going to deny that, but that's what it felt like. It felt like I just like
tripping,
was tripping. And, then I felt this bowling ball on the left side on my left foot and I couldn't pick my leg up. And in that instance, I thought, no, the 1%'s happening. I'm having a stroke. And I heard a gunshot go off behind my head. I mean, a literal gunshot. It popped. And when it did, the shrillest noise, like you'd been ear-holed in football, something like that. Or like you'd wrung your ears, being in a duck blind too close to your buddy. And I just remember going, I've got to get to a hospital. And luckily, by the grace of God, I was on the Roanoke stage with EMTs watching me. And we were 3 minutes away from a trauma 1 level unit. Keep in mind, 2 weeks prior, I was in Bahrain playing for 30,000 troops. Like I would have been toast if I'd have been out there, but I was 3 minutes away. The EMTs, my wife is type A, she had a folder that told exactly what I needed. And if this happened, my backpack, my tour manager gave it to the EMT. The EMT got me to the hospital and they administered a coagulant that stopped my brain from bleeding 18 minutes after it started, which saved the rest of my body. It just paralyzed my left side, but coming out of that and going, I know this is a long story. Y'all cool?
Yeah,
y'all
absolutely. Go on.
I'm in the hospital, and I made it, and they tore my clothes off of me, and and it's still the old school slow talking thing. And it was a hospital like Vanderbilt. They were teaching people, teaching kids, not kids, but teaching students to be doctors. So there was dozens of people around me because they were trying to figure out what to do. And I heard them discussing a port, and I heard them discussing sepsis, and I heard them discussing being brain dead. That's not the proper word for it, but whatever, And I remember screaming and it felt like I was trapped inside my rib cage and inside of my skeleton. And I couldn't communicate with them. I was looking at them and I was like, and they wouldn't give me any pain medicine to negate the pain because they wanted to make sure that I could communicate with them to make sure I wasn't brain dead. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this was 20 minutes after the stroke happened. And so in that moment, they're trying to figure out how to save me. And there was these 4 massive figures in the corners of the room, and they were super confident. And there was just, then all the pain kind of went away. And I was just like, all right, I might be gone. I remember thinking in my head, I might be dying. But then the most peaceful feeling came over me. And those 4, I thought they were security guards, and they were ultimately. But that was when I basically saw those guys. Later, come find out, those guys were angels. And I have no doubt that's what they were, because my wife told me later that she had prayed for angels to surround the room and guide the doctor's hands. And basically had this conversation with this bright light of, how's it going? How you doing? Are you ready? And I was like, ready for what? And it was back and forth of like, man, I think I've got some unfinished business. I want to have a kid. I want to kill a 170-inch deer in Illinois. I want to do this stuff. And it was just the most peaceful interaction with a, I think it was Jesus. I know it was Jesus. I don't think, and I just never saw his face. I saw the back of his silhouette. And I saw the angels in the corner of the room. And fast forward, when I got back home, me and my wife were on the front porch watching the supermoon. I was in a wheelchair, and we saw a cloud that looked like the Archangel Michael. And I said, that looks like the Archangel Michael. And my wife told me this story of her praying for the 4 angels to surround the room and guide the doctor's hands. And no doubt, those were the 4 angels. So I'm sitting here in front of you guys and y'all's audience today. That stuff is as real. I got to see behind the veil, and it was one snap of a finger, and it was the most peaceful thing. There was no pain. There was no anything. It was the easiest transition of like, utopia, bliss.
Had you read about any near-death experiencers prior to your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that's like, I'm not above a good conspiracy theory. I'm not I read a lot about, interactions with, I don't believe in Sasquatch, but sorry, that's the humor coming in again.
Right.
What I'm saying is I'm a reader. I will
Sure,
dig
yeah.
into these things. So yes, I had read a lot about, because of my spirituality and my just faith through all of this stuff. And I've always been able to talk to God very easily in the outdoors and talk with things to the point where my mom and dad were like, who are you talking to? You know, when I was a kid, and just being outside with a bow in my hand, or, you know, a knife and a fishing rod, like that was it. And, so I'd done a lot of that research, you know, since I'd been sick of near death experiences, and what people, how they align. You know, there's a lot of alignment in those.
It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
it's really crazy. And so I made it out of that. And there was a bunch of miracles that happened to get back home. Friends from high school that were EMTs helped me get back home. Friends sent a bus out there because I couldn't take a plane. I couldn't do, and I got back home. And I spent 40 days and 40 nights, I say, in the hospital.
That's significant.
There in the beginning, like recovering, and all of this stuff is symbolic to me. You know, I'm thinking about this as I go because I know the word. I know I was raised like that. And I'm grasping for straws because I'm going on tour with Zach Brown and going to to Australia, and I'm living what I'm supposed to live. And then it just gets taken. Everything gets sucked out from under me. And so I go from being, oh, thank the Lord I'm alive, to like kind of pissed off because I'm watching Nashville just fly by me. But we got home, spent those days, and I had to relearn how to walk. I couldn't walk. Whole left side was completely gone. All my muscle mass had left my left side. And I was just in a very, very tough spot. And I realized rock bottom had a basement. You know, it was brutal, man, because, you know, I'm this in shape dude that goes from this 185 pound, you know, fighting weight dude to 140 pounds of just skin and bone. And, you know, I'm 35 years old. I don't have any kids yet. You know, we had just been married, you know, 5 years or so. And, so I'm really, really pissed off. So that brings me to the story that I'm talking to the Drurys about, you know, the hunting thing and the primitive right of a hunter that is ingrained in us is so strong. And it starts when I get home and I'm upset, and people don't recover from this stuff. Like they just don't. Like I had the purpose of music, and I was going to write music, and that was going to help me. I had the purpose of, I haven't had kids yet, and that was going to help me. But I was recovering next to 60-year-old stroke patients that were, you know, farting all over themselves. And I was just like in a bad place. I was like, I've got to get to a gym where there's athletes and there's people. Like I've still got a lot of life. And so we did that. So I'm in a wheelchair. I'm trying to figure out how to walk. My wife like duct tapes her leg to her leg, and she's trying to teach me how to walk, and she's helping me use the bathroom. So it's super humbling.
It's tough as a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I've always considered myself a tough guy, and people like, well, who says that? Well, who's the awesome bull rider, the $10 million, $6 million bull rider?
JB Mooney.
So JB Mooney, I heard him say this. I'm tough because I say I am. I just always believed I was tough. Like I've played football, I wrestled, you know, I did things, you know, I'm tough. I'm a tough guy. I've killed deer. I can skin a buck, run a trot line, and all the Hank Williams Jr. stuff. So I've always been tough, but I'm on my back here and I can't do anything. And I'm having to depend on my wife and my mom actually to help us. And then my wife goes down. That's another story, but then my wife goes down and she has an autoimmune disorder that debilitates her from the breast down. And we get both of our moms in there then. And Alex's brother comes up. This starts the hunting journey. And he goes, man, how you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not doing too good, Jimmy. He said, well, he got bored. He's like, I'm gonna go down here and put a game camera down in this bottom. I just got chills saying that. I was like, well, why, man? I mean, I can't go down there and hunt it. I can't climb a ladder. I can't set up a ground blind. Like, I can't pull back a bow. I'm not, I'm not going to shoot a crossbow. He's like, dude, it's changed, brother. You got to put all that out. Like crossbow, wooden stick. It doesn't matter. You figure out how to hunt. You've got to do it. I'm putting this game camera up. So thank God he did. He goes down there and puts it up. And I look at it 500 times a day because I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
Because guess where we're at? You fast forward 4 months, 5 months past August the 19th, 2019.
COVID.
Where are we at?
Lockdown.
What a blessing, though. For me, I'm super competitive. I'm watching, Cody Johnson and Riley Green and all these people zoom by me, and now the world stopped. And I'm like, oh, my chance to stay up, whatever. He goes and puts the game camera up. All right. 100 yards behind the house, maybe 100 yards.
And you're in Alabama, right?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, Nashville. You're from Alabama.
I'm from Alabama, Hokes Bluff, Gadsden area. And I mean, I would climb through 10 acres of crap to kill a wood duck, to kill a 110-inch deer, with a hand-me-down bow. That's just how we grew up, just like everybody in the South. And I loved it. So I'm checking this game camera 500 times a day because I have nothing else to do. And 2 weeks go by, and I'm not even kidding. A 175-inch deer pops up in Nashville, Tennessee, behind my house. And when I tell you guys that it lit a fire, I believe we're born hunters, and that primal instinct came out of me, and I started. Alex, she'll tell you, my wife, she said his whole demeanor changed. His whole purpose changed. He started digging in, and I walked up straight up to her and I said, I got to learn how to climb a ladder. I'm in a wheelchair. She's like, you got to learn how to walk, dude. And I threw that cell phone up in her face. She goes, you're not going to Kansas? I said, look at the picture. She said, oh my gosh, that's behind her. She said, how is that behind? And I think God sent that deer. Mm-hmm. I know he did. And because he knew what could get to me, right? A song or a deer. I go to my trainer, my physical therapist, who's from Mississippi, who's a diehard hunter. I said, I got to learn how to climb a ladder. You got to learn how to walk. One step in front of the other, bub. Show him the picture. Oh my gosh. Well, you're not going to Iowa. Look at the picture. Holy crap. Get on that Versa climber, start climbing. 2 months later, I climbed a ladder 100 yards behind my house with a crossbow. And I hunted that deer for 2 years and never killed that deer. I saw the deer twice. Never killed the deer. I hunted the same stand is why, I couldn't get after it. I couldn't like really hammer it, but with things that can track, I would look at maps and look at things and be like, all right, I think this is where he's going. And when I get well enough, I'll train a little bit harder, and I'll get well enough to go hunt this side of this hill and blah, blah, blah. Well, excuse me. It healed me, man. To the point where I go back, this is huge. I go back to my Dr. Miracle, and I just walk in and he goes, what in the world have you been doing? I hadn't seen him in 4 months. And Alex goes, and I was like, I don't know, man. Alex goes, I'll tell you what he's been doing. He's been hunting every single day. I can't, he won't do anything else. And I show him the picture of that deer and he doesn't understand because he's not a deer hunter. Mm-hmm. And he's looking at scans and he's like looking at this stuff and he's like, Drake, whatever you're doing, you cannot quit, man. you have drastically changed your healing process. I'm not saying neuroplasticity has grown, but like I can see where brain activity is happening due to these technological scans. And in my head, I said, well, I've got a song called The Hurt's the Healing. I said, the hunt's the healing. And then my brain started going towards this thing. That's why this happened. I'm going to help people heal through hunting. And it doesn't matter if you're Filson wearing a wool sweater or crossbow hunter, 30-06, mossy oak or real tree. It doesn't matter. This primal instinct is real. It went off in me and it healed me. And if you will find a purpose, for me, it was a 175-inch deer. For some people, it might be a turkey or a fish, or for some people, it might be a T-ball game. But I began speaking on the power of purpose, not to sound like Tony Robbins, but like that deer was sent to me. And I believe people need to hear this story, that it doesn't matter what you're facing or what you're going through. If you can find something to look forward to, if you can find something a purpose to pursue, man, that's all you need. And it was hunting for me. And it brought back that child in me that was like, man, I didn't even consider the fact that I couldn't walk. I got to climb a ladder.
I'll levitate out there if I need to.
Right. And that taught me to walk. Because walking was a next step, no pun intended. So walking just happened because I was learning to climb a ladder. My legs began to get stronger. But to kind of quote, get into that Uncle Ted Nugent type of like spirituality of the hunter, man, it was so real for me, and it healed me. And I went and killed multiple deer, not that deer, but I killed multiple deer and skinned it, ate the food, and eating the food helped heal me. I mean, we all know that eating the deer meat helped heal me, but actually knowing that I can now use the bathroom on my own, I can now take care of myself. And by the way, I can provide, for my family, even though we can go to the grocery store and that's fine. But like as hunters, for me to go out there and harvest a deer and now be able to teach my son, through we ended up having a son 7 years after beginning to try. And I just thought people needed, to hear that story of like hunting. It doesn't matter if you're a Patagonia wearing tree hugger from California, or if you're, going and you got a Dale Earnhardt thing from, Talladega, Alabama, a Dale Earnhardt jacket, and you hunt every day. Like hunting is so primal and it's so God-given, and it's so, it healed me. Yeah. It literally healed me. And I wasn't able to, and now I'm singing. We're going to do 110 shows, 120 shows this year. We're out with Riley Green and Ella Langley. We're out there doing, and my arms aren't quite as big as his, but I'm getting there, And
he's a First Form guy, by the way. Yeah.
I'm a First Form guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Love those guys. And yeah, man, it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
We see this. So I don't know if you're familiar with it. I'm sure you are. Catch a Dream, the Catch a Dream Foundation, and they take terminally ill children, on a hunting or fishing kind of trip of their lifetime. And we every year we have a Catch a Dream family and child come into camp and up to mark, and we've been working with them probably 22, 23 years. And we have seen, miracles happen, not only on the hunt where they,
shouldn't have happened.
They shouldn't have happened. A deer, as they say, it's in the scope. I got him. And the deer walks 5 steps and then the kid shoots and, they put a perfect shot on him. Weird stuff like that has happened all the time. But we also have heard from the folks at Catch a Dream and the families that in a lot of instances, it has helped the kids heal. It has helped them have something to look forward to, have then that time they spent afield with Mark and the crew, and it helps them. I don't know, like you're saying, it's just something, maybe it's unlocking something that's primal, that's instinctual in our DNA that helps, kind of like a light switch almost, like kick off this, it's almost like you're firing on all cylinders all of a sudden. And so we've seen that a lot over the years, not always, but a high percentage of these kids end up becoming healed and live long, beautiful lives. So I believe in what you're saying, that it's something in our DNA. I mean, think about it. It's millennia that we've done this. And it's only just recently, within the last 50 years to 100, that it hasn't been as primal.
Yeah, we've all gone indoors, and I know I've made this point on the show before, but we've lost kind of the true meaning of the word recreation. Like literally, you're being recreated by having these experiences, and when you're in creation, you can't help but recognize that if there's creation, there's a creator, and if there's a creator, there's purpose, and if there's purpose in nature, there's purpose in my life, and I'm concerned that so many, especially guys, are just sitting at home, letting life pass them by, and they're not living in their purpose. And we see, you see a lot of issues that come out of that. But Drake, what you're talking about is tapping into that drive, especially as men. Like, we are built to work. We're built to achieve.
You have to have something that you're saying purpose. You have to have something that drives you. Yeah. And if you don't have something that drives you, or that you look forward to, or, you're just doom scrolling on social media, or you're on your computer all the time or in front of the TV, like there's a million traps to keep you indoors. And you really have to, we've talked about this before, but once I had kids, my wife and I, it's going on 11 years ago now, like it woke me up, and it's like, man, I gotta
grow up.
I gotta do something to be healthier, to be active, to like be a man,
better personality.
Be a role model,
yeah, be a role model. Like, I want my kids to see that if you want something in life, you have to earn it. You have to go get it. And so I think all these things tap into what you're talking about with getting that picture of that deer. It gave you purpose, right? And it unlocked this DNA that was inside you that helped. You talked about the scans. Like, what was it in those scans that the doctor was seeing, Dr. Miracle, that made him say, like, what are you doing different? Was it something, you talked about the elasticity, what was it exactly?
So neuroplasticity forms around, like, I had a lesion in my brain. That lesion now it's a fully embolized lime-sized lesion.
It's still there?
Oh yeah, it's still there, but it's okay because it's in the part of my brain where it doesn't cause anything bad to happen. I don't need, I can't really explain it other than it's good. It's just a lesion.
It's just there.
But now from where it ruptured, that blood hit good brain tissue, and that brain tissue operates the left side of my hand. My left hand right now is numb. My left foot's numb. And it's coming back very, very slowly, like trees growing slow. But that neuroplasticity, your brain has the ability to form new neural passageways around things that it's forgotten to do, or things that it's been, in recreation. I love that you brought up that is the recreation. That's where the root word is. And I'm obsessed with words, being a writer. Like, when you recreate, you go out there and you actually see the grizzly bear in Alaska, and you actually see these animals, or for you, if it's going to the, Eiffel Tower, and you actually see that yourself, that neuroplasticity, it's not, I believe it. I think I believe it. I watched it on a scan show up in the form, my brain, it's yellow. I don't know what kind of scan it is, but it just shows activity in the brain in that spot that is just a black hole, a black abyss, which that gets me to the documentary. Ladder to the Sky is the name of this documentary. We documented all of that process of me learning to climb that ladder, of me, and not with the intention. I have a great creative director named Zach Knudsen. This a phenomenal cameraman, and he just, because he didn't have anything else to do, it was the middle of COVID. We documented all of that stuff, and then I took a guy named Holt Ingalls, is producing it with Zach and myself, and we produced this. I love the Revenant bear attack, and I love the way that was shot. I said, how do we? I love, all of the stuff that we've watched since we were kids on, everything from TNN to sports, everything. But I wanted something that was not necessarily better. I just wanted something that was filmed like that bear attack.
A more cinematic
view of what it was. And we documented, I mean, y'all have to understand the ASMR of the frost crunching under my boot, going up the rung of the ladder, would send my nervous system into a, not shock, but I would be afraid to death. Because I don't know if your boot slid in between two rungs, but when your leg gets hung in between two rungs, all you guys do is pull it out, but it still hurts, Everybody's done that. But I would hear that frost crunch under my boot, and it would make me so nervous because I'd be 12, 15 foot up and be like, man, was this stupid to do this? It's pitch black dark, and I may have to start this all over again and bring my wife back through this. Well, we capture that in this documentary. And then we capture, just how nervous I was about going out and how all those things that I had to overcome. It's a totally different hunting experience. And there is a kill in the video, but it's like, it's 10% of the whole thing. It's really just my heart pounding, really the blessing of being able to step in those angels protecting me and put them in the wild, and then see the creator and the maker in the wild through redbirds, bobcats, coyotes, and the things that I saw. I think he didn't allow me to harvest that deer because he wanted me to keep pursuing it, because it is the pursuit.
Yeah. The chase
that healed me. It's not the kill.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the half dozen does that I harvested, to eat that meat. I think it was purposeful in the fact that my wife's a chef, and that eating that meat through the pandemic and having all of that, breaking bread and actually going out and cooking this stuff. It just, documenting that was really special. I think we got a really special, documentary.
There's no room for compromise in your hunting knife. That's why Cold Steel has built a reputation for crafting the toughest, most reliable blades on the planet. From the versatile click and cut to the innovative hunting kit, every Cold Steel knife is a tool that you can trust. Strong, durable, ready for anything. Get yours today at coldsteel.com and experience the difference for yourself. So
this come from it.
When does this come out, the documentary?
So we're doing a premiere in Nashville at the Duck Blind Riley Green's bar,
right next
September the 1st.
Right next to Losers, right? Losers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're going to do that September the 1st and have a bunch of friends out. You guys are obviously welcome, and everybody's going to come out there and view this thing for the first time. And then September I think probably the 14th, we will go to Real Trees YouTube, and then from there we'll go to Outdoor Channel. Probably Mitch Petrie's a good buddy. I think you said you're good buddies with Mitch. He's been overly supportive of this whole thing, and just a lot of great supporters. But we're going to start out on YouTube and start planting seeds there, and then go to the outdoor channel, probably around October.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
When everybody's sitting there
Yeah.
watching hunting videos, and my goal with it is to be, like I said, this is called Ladder to the Sky. That's after a song that I wrote. It's called A Hunts to Healing production. And I feel like it's episodic in nature because I feel like that you guys just hit on it. The miracles that you witness through the recreation that we go out there are endless. I mean, I've seen hundreds of them. And from taking people that have been messed up with PTSD to kids that would never be able to do this. I know that's there's a lot of different people that are doing that, and there's a lot of great things that are happening because of that. But I think this story and going through this has, I always say, a rising tide floats all ships. And I think being able to speak with authority that prayer works, that God is real, that the Creator is real, and that the primal instinct of the hunter lived inside of me when I was having to help, when I was having to have help, using the bathroom and bathing. It was still in me. And it took a picture from a cell cam that,
It's no surprise to me.
it took, I mean, y'all know when you see that.
Yeah, the drive that you get from one stupid picture of a big deer, you're like, oh my goodness, like everything, just falls to the wayside, and you just tunnel vision.
Drake, when you were talking about your near-death experience there in the hospital, I just got the image of like Jesus walking back to God and God being like, well, and Jesus saying, oh, he's got some deer to kill still.
Got work to do.
Yeah, he's not ready yet.
There's a lot of stuff I'm going to ask him when I get up there. And look, I grew up in Hoax Bluff First Baptist Church in small town Alabama, and I've been all through my journey and my walk. I've been that guy that says, "Oh, they're all hypocrites." I've been that guy that says, "I don't want to go to church," or "I don't." The lake is my church, or the bar stool is my church, or whatever. And I understand all that. I think the reason that God allowed me to go through this is because, man, I can sit around a fire and hear a dirty joke, tell a dirty joke. Heck, I've been around them my whole life. That's where I learned how to play and learn how to do this thing. And I can drink beer with anybody and hang out with anybody. But He gave me this journey to say that He is real. He is right there. All you have to do is ask. And when you find purpose in His creation, and when you find purpose in His power, then your life starts to heal. And your thing, it doesn't matter what you've been through, drug addiction, PTSD, losing a kid, cheating on your wife. I don't care. It's always redemptive, and He is the one that redeems. And that is powerful to me. And I think this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I really do. And no, I can't jump around like Eddie Vedder, and I can't hit a ball out of the baseball park yet, like Riley Green. But it's one of those things. I have my purpose now that when I speak about overcoming adversity, there's an authority there that comes with this story, and it's not of me, and it's not of any other hand, but the Creator that created these Appalachian Mountains and that created that deer. I think He created that deer. That deer might be an angel deer.
A ghost.
He may not even be real, because nobody ever killed him, or I would have known. I've got a little co-op. I have a potluck about twice a year around my house, just so hunters would come and show me the pictures. So
it's evil genius.
And I've killed more deer since this pursuit than I ever have. I'm more gung ho about it and been introduced to people. And yes, it is a way I don't really consider it a hunting career. I guess my hunting career is like, of course, everybody wants the property and wants opportunities. But as far as like being in this like YouTube world of hunt. Like that's not really the desire.
Mhm.
The desire is people see ladder to the sky. People see a hunt's the healing thing. And I mean, we're going to talk to Lee Ellis. We're going to talk to Cam Haynes. We're going to talk hopefully to Theo Vaughn and, you know, all these guys. And this podcasting, it got our president freaking elected. So like this podcasting is the way that we can kind of get in there and have these conversations. And hopefully people hear this story and they go, you know what? I am going to crack that Bible. Or you know what? I am going to try to climb that ladder. Even if it's one rung, if you get one rung off the ground, you know, you probably need to get higher, but it's worth it to me is what I'm saying. And I appreciate the opportunity to tell it on this podcast.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Matt, do you want to close us in prayer?
Yeah, I think we better let you do that. Hey, I appreciate you coming on because it's to me, it's always encouraging to hear stories like this for people to talk about what connects them, whether it's faith or the outdoors or like you said, maybe it's sports or whatever, you know, traveling, whatever. I love hearing people's stories and kind of see what drives them and what keeps getting one foot in front of the other. In your case, literally get you to move one foot in front of the other. That's pretty powerful because, you know, the human brain has a lot of ability, but it has to be unlocked and something has to help unlock it.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it is faith. And for some people, the story of getting a trail cam picture, that drives you to get the one step in front of the other and climb one rung and then another rung. And that's a big deal to be able to, I guess, get over what is a mental and physical challenge. I don't know if you know this, but my dad, Terry, he had a tree stand accident a few years back. And
I didn't know that.
Probably a couple years before your stroke. And, you know, like that is a scary thing to go through. And you just don't know what you're going to be what you're left with after something like that. And he fell a long way. He probably fell 15 feet, 13, 14.
Yeah, he could have lost his life.
And, you know, and saved by the grace of God and very fortunate. And to be able to, like, he was hunting by the end of the season. Like I was with him in Illinois, actually, during, I think it was like a second gun season. And he could barely, I mean, we were dropping him off and helping him kind of get up into the blind. And, you know, really, I had to hold the deer. He killed a great deer that night and had to hold the deer up for him because he couldn't, you know, it's amazing to me what will drive you. And I thought he was insane. It's like, Dad, just take some time. You don't have to go through this deer season. Nobody's expecting that from you. And in his mind, that was the drive for him. It's, oh, our partners and our sponsors and our, you know, people are counting on me. And it's just like, nobody's expecting you to do this. But I think really it was the drive and determination for him to continue like this, a type A guy that's always moving in construction and, you know, prides himself on working hard. And like you said, you know, being a man that rolls his sleeves up and gets his hands dirty. And I think it drove him to continue. And thank goodness it did. I mean, he's, you know, other than mentally, he's all there.
Well, in his situation and Drake's, no one would have questioned you guys if you just would have just kind of drifted off and convalesced. Because you had a good enough excuse to do that.
Yeah. That's the tough thing. I am as type A as it gets. We worked hard. You know, your dad worked hard to build what he built.
Yeah.
He's got grandkids. I've watched y'all's stuff. Like he's got things that he wants to do. And now he's worked hard to unlock the gates. Freedom. That's all money is. Money is freedom. Money gives you the opportunity to go pursue the things you want to pursue. And now he's at that place. And for me in my head, mentally, it was like, man, I had everything built the way I wanted to build. And then it just gets torn down. And then everybody goes, nobody's going to judge you. I didn't mean to point at you.
Hey, you.
No, nobody's going to judge you if you, I'll say this. A friend of mine, John Party, came in, not to name drop, but he
never heard of him.
Love him.
He came to visit me in the hospital. And there's two stories, but he came to visit me in the hospital, and he said, "Hey," I said, "Well, let's get together and write one." And he was like, he goes, "I'll never forget this." He said, "Man, take care of yourself. We can write anytime. You take care of yourself." And that was innocent. But that made me so mad because I knew that he was like, Drake's in my mind. I didn't know this, but like in my mind, that was him going, "Oh, he's done. He's got to." That was what your dad was thinking.
Yeah.
"Oh, they just think I'm done." So one of the things that we documented, y'all got time for one more story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
If it's a good one.
This is a good one.
That's a good one.
We go out to Honey Break in Louisiana, and I had been out there with some friends of mine, when we were doing it, and just been introduced through music. So I had my friends, Drew, Keith at Honey Break, and they're a big part of this documentary. So we're out there, and it gets time. Riley calls my phone and goes, "Hey man, we're going out there. Would you want to, why don't you go out there with us?" And I'm like, "No," I didn't even know Riley. Time. This is 2020. No, man. Like in my head, I didn't say no to him, but I said, "I appreciate the invite." Hung up the phone. And it was, I came to my wife and said, "I'm not going." You know why I didn't want to go? I didn't want to go because I couldn't get my waders on.
Mm.
My left foot was completely paralyzed, my left side. And I was in a place where I could get in a boat, get out, but I needed my dad,
Yeah.
I needed proverbially my dad to help me hold the deer up,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to it's still hard to even, I didn't want to expose that I wasn't man enough to put my own waders on.
Yeah.
So Alex, my wife, said, "You're going. You're being an idiot. You're going. That'll help you to look forward to that hunt,
Yeah.
to go out there." And it's 13 hours out there from Nashville.
Yeah.
So I end up going. We drive all the way out there. The first day, I didn't even know Honey Break deer hunted. I thought it was a place you could go kill 13 species of ducks.
Yeah.
And drink
deer hunting's unbelievable, actually.
Oh my God.
Had a lot of team members go down there.
Unbelievable. I thought it was a place you could kill 13 species of ducks and drink a daiquiri in a drive-through,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get up at the first morning. I got a brand new pair of waders, which was stupid. I should have just took my old ones. But I got there, and I woke up at 3:00. I couldn't sleep, and I went down to the boot room, and I started trying to put those waders on. And I got frustrated. 3:00 turned to 3:30, turned to 4. I said, "All right, I still got an hour. I'm going to figure this out. I'm an engineering-minded person. I'm going to figure out some way to get these things on." 4 turns to 4:30. People start creeping down. They're like looking at me. And Riley comes. He didn't even know he did this, but he comes to the bottom of the stairs and, "What are you doing, man?" I'm like drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Trying to put these waders on. Been up since 3:00. He goes, "Come here, man." Walks over, grabs them. We spend about 10 minutes. I get the waders on and keep them on for the whole time.
Slept in them.
and it broke me, man. It was like I was so competitive with him, with music, with everything. I was so competitive with all the stuff, because that's just what the drive is. But it created a relationship, and I understood why God put my wife in between me and said, "You've got to go." Because in that moment, I realized it does not matter. It does not matter if you wear your granddad's, Pendleton shirt, and don't let me mess you up with your sponsors. I'm not trying to poke the bear here. This story and this godly thing is way bigger than any anything you wear, anything you shoot, and it is, I think a duck knows when you're struggling, and they know when you're hurting. They just do. And they also know when you go and good and well, maybe your wife doesn't want you to go and you shouldn't go, but you go anyway. Do y'all ever see any deer when you do that?
No.
I never see anything when I do that. It's because you're not supposed to be out there.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not any fun to go. So my point in closing, I guess, would be like, that broke me. I didn't want to go. Somebody had that proximity being power. My wife stepped in and said, you should go. And that healed me and made me realize that nobody cares, man, if you can't get your waders on.
Yeah.
Nobody cares if you shoot a crossbow, a 30-06 or a upright bow. I love shooting an upright bow, and that's how I want to, and I'm training to do it, but I'm not quite there yet as we speak. But I got 40 pounds on my bow. That's legal.
Sure.
45, and I'm trying to figure it out. That's the journey, the hunt, and trying to figure it out. It broke me to a point where it's not about Drake White. The music's not about Drake White. This Hunts to Healing is not about Drake White. It's about the creator and the recreation of yourself going out there being a primal hunter.
Two things I want to comment before we let you go. And one is, a man's ego can be a prison, and I think that's kind of what you're getting at there. It's like, whether you wanted, it's like the competitive nature of, hey, this is another guy in my industry and he's doing well and I can't show weakness. That's just ego, and we all have it, right? And it's hard to let that get. It's like a guy asking for directions. It's hard to do that, right? And so I want to just say, like, guys out there struggling with that, sometimes you gotta step away from yourself and just know, like, probably you care more than anybody else around you,
which ultimately makes you a better man.
Doubt.
Like that's the irony of it. It makes you a bigger and better man to be able to do that.
Second thing I want to mention, you said money is freedom, and you're 100% right. But I think your story shows and articulates that having the physical ability to have your body, your physical body and health, that's true freedom, right? Like, to be able to now looking back, it's like, money is freedom. You're right. To be able to take off work or do things that you want to go on a trip with your family, whatever, that is 100%. But if you don't have your body and you don't have your physical being, like, you ain't got nothing. And I've seen it, happen with people close to me, my cousin Joe, who passed away, like, things that it's like, oh my God, you think you're indestructible as a man, young man especially. And it's just like, ooh, you get a good dose of reality as you go through life. So
no doubt,
I wanted to just end with that. But I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us, and tell people how they can find more about you, your music, follow along. I know you're out on tour. Tell us a little bit more about that side real quick.
Yeah. Just Drake White, Drake like the duck, white like the color, drakewhite.com, Instagram. If that's your deal, it's Drake White Stomp. And then, Facebook and all that stuff's just Drake White, but, we're active on those suckers. But yeah, we're out touring, right now on the Low Country High Road tour. Keep it moving. Is basically what I've always said. Just keep it moving, man. Just keep moving, keep going. And so we're on that tour. Like I said, our shows have turned into this revival of sorts. Like, we sing about whiskey and we sing about, the things that, that country music is about. But man, it's just became this redemptive revival-esque thing. And I see people cry. I see people laugh. I see people dance. I see people hook up. I see people fight. And it's this whole...
Sounds like a party.
Yeah. It's this whole thing of emotion. I did want to say, to your point, if you have your health, you have a million problems. Today, you're thinking about 12 problems that you got that you're going to go solve. If you don't have your health, you have one problem. And that's the power in it. Like, be grateful for your health. And I think about that because I'm still driven as the dang snow. Like, I'm going to pack out Madison Square Garden. I'm going to sell out, Red Rocks, and I'm going to kill this imaginary deer that God put in my life, And I kind of did, but I just had to go to Illinois to do it. But, man, it's just such a great life. It's such a great thing. And like I said, I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak with you, and sorry for talking too much, but I did.
Absolutely. We loved it. I love hearing these stories and the connection to the outdoors. It's very powerful.
Yeah. And you think about, like, at the end of your life, God asks you, like, okay, what'd you do with what I gave you? And so, Drake, it's nice to see you leveraging the exposure, the platforms that you have for the kingdom. Like, that's really something to be proud of. And I'm sure lives will be changed in the process. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that's all for today. We appreciate you, man. And good luck this fall. I look forward to having you back on and telling some more deer stories.
Absolutely. I look forward to shaking y'all's hand.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Until next time.
All right.
See ya.
Peace out.
See ya.
DeerCast movement prediction and mapping tools combined with our exclusive virtual rain gauges gets you ahead of your game.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast Maps, waypoints, weather, virtual rain gauges, and more. Every tool you need to get ahead of your game.